Okay, Janelle, listen. Hello. What's her name? Scary. Listen, y'all gotta join the YouTube. I'm just over here. Okay, we live. I got the notification. We live. Listen, I'm just giving y'all the background song, okay? I'm giving y'all the background song, but y'all gotta get onto our YouTube. All right, let me rewind because I just want the hook. Get to the Instagram, get to the YouTube. Find your way. All right, y'all. I'm just on here giving y'all a little vibe. You know what I'm saying? Okay, good. Yes, Janelle, go ahead. Go there now. Yes. All right, great, Sherry. Find your way to the YouTube. All right, I'm off this now.
Wait, no, don't go off.
Oh, okay.
You ready off?
No. Hi, Glenroy. Let me wave to you. Hi, darling. How are you? But listen, we are live on our YouTube. And so I'm just on here letting y'all know to find your way to our YouTube.
I don't know why it's not coming up.
It said that it's live.
Yeah, but I don't see it on our page. It says it's still. Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the YouTube. YouTube says it's live.
All right. We're in.
All right, y'all. I'm off this. Okay.
Hello.
All right. Let me. Did I end this? I hope I did. All right. Let me get back to the page where we are live. Hey, y'all. Hey. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Did y'all like our music? No.
What's love got to do? All right, y'all. So I'm going to. We just for you guys who are joining in now, just wanted to let you know what we were doing. We're live on Instagram as well, just kind of telling everybody to come on into our YouTube channel. We do have a Instagram page, and most of our followers, all of our followers, are on our Instagram page. And so we were on just saying, hey, find your way into our YouTube channel. So welcome. Hey, y'all. Good evening. Welcome to Lives. This is our Thursday Live with Trey and Jay. I'm Trey.
And I am Jay.
Yes.
Like that?
And so this evening, we got so much to talk about. Like, Janelle, you excited?
I'm excited. I am.
Because I'm excited. Shout out to the people who just logged in. We see you. We see you. Shout out to you. Just wanted to do a quick few announcements. All right. Listen closely. We are going to be giving away a ticket. That's just one, y'all. Just one. Okay. Don't get too crazy.
Just one for now.
We are giving one ticket away soon. We will be giving away a ticket soon, and you have to check out our Instagram in order for you to keep up with what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it. There's going to be some rules to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be super duper engaging for our Galentine's event. And that is going to be next Friday. And we have a super duper dope announcement about that. That should be coming out sometime within the weekend. And I'm really excited to let you guys know all the things that we're doing. Shout out to the next person who just joined us. Hey. Okay. So just wanted to give you guys just some announcements. We are going to be giving a ticket away. Please follow our Instagram page just so that you know what's up with Trey and Jay. That's Life with Trey and Jay. That's TRAYANDJEA. I just almost had like a moment. So anyway,
Like, how do I spell my name?
Yeah, right, legitimately. Okay, so follow us on Instagram so you can find out all the deets on our giving the ticket away, and then also just make sure you check out our IG. We love to be engaging. Our Insta stories are the spot to be at. Outside of our Thursday lives with Trey and Jay, and we're going to be far more active on here as well. So just find your way. Shout out to you for finding your way. Shout out to the next person.
Shout out to you for finding your way.
I love the gentle find your way. You know, when the people find your way. So I'm going to hand it over to Janelle. You could pull up on announcing the topic. Let us know.
Yo, so I want to announce a topic first. I mean, not first. I'm going to announce the topic, but I think I want to just give a little bit more about Valentine's Day because I'm excited. So a little bit, this ties into Valentine's Day, the topic that we have today. So Valentine's Day is all about, the topic is the gift of being yourself, right? And we decided to choose that theme because when you know God's love for you, you embrace who he's created you to be, and you fall in love with that. You know, you fall in love with him, you fall in love with that. And so we want those who are joining us for Valentine's Day. Sorry guys, it's only women.
It's a ladies only because
it's a ladies night. It's a ladies night.
Right.
You know, so we want everyone, not only ladies, but specifically that night, for us to remember and to know, maybe not even remember, to discover who you are and who God created you to be. And he created you in love. So anyway, it's February. It's the first Thursday in February, and we're excited because, you know, people always talk about love, or they talk about Valentine's Day, and it's usually about like this romantic, you know, like lovey-dovey love, but the creator of love is God. God is love, you know, and so period. So we wanted to talk about love, but in that light. And so our topic for today is God's love for us, or I like to remix it. It's God's love for me. It's God's love for me. It's God's love for me, and for you. But I want you to say that it's God's love for me, you know, because he loves us. He loves me. You know, he loves you. So the scripture that comes to mind is 1 John 4:7. It says, beloved, that alone is great. Like, beloved, like, you are my love, beloved. And he's not only talking to women, he's talking to men too. Because I think a lot of times it's weird to hear a guy say something like that, but Jesus is for everybody. Like, he ain't only for women.
For all the people.
all the people. Let us unselfishly love and seek the best for one another. For love is from God, and everyone who loves others is born of God and knows God through his personal experience. The one who does not love has not become acquainted with God, because he's love, does not and never will never know him, for God is love. So that was actually verse 7 and 8. God is love. When I first heard that, I was in the Caribbean. I was in St. Lucia, and my cousin had it on his phone, and I was like, God is love. Like, the definition of love is God. So he could do nothing else but love. Whoa. Like, I know it sounds so simple, but it isn't. And it's not to be complicated, but like, he is love, you know? And so I wanted to talk about all the characteristics of God's love. And like, God's love is all these things: sacrificial, overwhelming. It keeps us safe. It's kind, it's personal. Like, there's all these things. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to let Trey go first.
Right. So the one that I love for us to talk about first is sacrificial. So, and this is the thing. So before I even read the scripture that we have associated with this, is everyone is always searching for this sacrificial love. You always are like, well, if it ain't sacrificial love, I don't want it. But it's like, if you really think about the person, the work, the presence of Jesus. It's like that in and of itself, his whole being in and of itself is sacrificing, right? That is sacrificial. That is a sacrifice. You are born to sacrifice. Like
that's,
nuts.
he was born to sacrifice.
Right.
Specifically, yeah.
Right. And so I'm just gonna read the scripture. So it's John 3:16.
It's the popular one.
Got that joint on them. Chat over here.
Shout out to what's it called? Forever 21. They have it on their bags.
With the bags, yes. Okay, like tatted everywhere on the bag in all the ways, right? So he sacrificed his son. So for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. So
everybody listen, everybody say, Trey, get your glasses.
Yo, y'all must be like,
he loves
hilarious.
You. Get your glasses.
That joint was mad far just now. That's funny. But yeah, go ahead.
Yo, so like I love the fact that guys he gave. So I always think about, when I think about love, I think about now. I always thought about a parent to a child. But now that I'm actually a parent, my 9 months of being a parent, it's like, wow. I'm not going to give birth to my daughter for her to die for someone else. It's not happening. It's not happening. And God obviously didn't give birth because Mary did, but that's his son. Jesus is his son. And he created Jesus, right? Created Jesus for him to die for someone else, for us. And so that whole giving thing, like the whole process of giving is out of love. And so when you think about like a relationship that's built on love, the other person is sacrificing it's sacrificial on both ends. It shouldn't be one-sided. But with God, he did it. God, Jesus sacrificed for the chance for you to have a relationship with him. He didn't know for sure. There's a whole nother level to that because he is all-knowing and all-powerful. So he might have known, but for the chance for you to have a relationship with him, not like
to give you the opportunity to do so.
Right. For the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to have a relationship with him. Like that's pretty insane. And
I think there's the other thing that you also want to just mention as you're recognizing, like, not only sacrifice, but God's love for us and who he is. It's too great to be to comprehend in our finite minds. Like, our minds are so, like, I know we try to, you might be like, oh, I'm hella intelligent. It's like, okay. Or like,
you are, sis, you are.
But yeah, like, okay, like, yeah. But at the same time, it's like your mind will not be able to comprehend how big of a sacrifice this is to be born in order to die for your own sins, right? So our minds are not large enough to understand that concept, because we're born very selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we're like, oh my goodness, I'm really not that selfish. Like, yeah, we are as people. And there's that. Now, on the other end, it's like he's so kind to us, right? So you have this one part where it's like your mind can't understand it really fully grasp the gravity of it all. And then also on the next flip, it's like, wow, you're so kind to me, even though I don't fully like get you in the fullness of how I can understand and how I can comprehend piece by piece by piece. I don't necessarily do so, yet you're still kind to me, yet you still love me, yet you still come after me, yet you still like you still chase after me, like all of these things, right? So another thing that I think is super beautiful is just also how it's personal, right? And I like to mirror it to, you know how when people are talking about like, oh, this is a secret, or oh, this is private, there's a difference. Okay, y'all? as we are in here in February, in the month of February, like, know the difference. There's a difference between a secret and there's a difference between private. But I love the part that it's so personal. Like, it's our relationship is specific to you, right? So you have this very personal, right, relationship with him that may very well be private, but private doesn't mean that it's like, oh, no one knows. It's not like a tiny secret that's just between you. It's like, he openly loves us. He openly desired to bring his son onto, like, have his son come onto the earth in order to live and die for us, right? So I just want us to marinate on that. And Janelle, you can go ahead, because I feel like I'm talking a lot. So
so I'm gonna talk about how the fact that God's love is not petty. I love it. I love
he ain't
that.
Petty Betty. Listen, he's not Petty Betty.
He's not. He ain't Petty LaBelle.
He ain't Petty LaBelle. Okay.
He's not Petty Betty. And the reason why I say that is because it kind of we talked about it earlier somewhat. Like, God, he decided to sacrifice. He decided to openly love, with the chance of us loving him back. It wasn't even like a for sure thing. It was a choice, because some of us completely say no to God's love. Some of us have been running away from God's love for years. I was one of them. For a long time, I ran away from God, and there was a consistent reaching out. There's a consistent, like, if there was a physical representation, it would be like a hug that's completely open. Well, you can't see my arms, but like two arms open wide, wait. Like, you ever seen a better illustration would be, you ever seen a father or a mother on one knee, and they're waiting for their child to run into their arms, and their arms are open wide for their child? That was God just waiting. And for me, I was running in the opposite direction. And I think it's so beautiful because he's not petty, because I would have been like, oh, she whack. She played me several times, many years. Oh, I'm not dealing with her. She is not serious.
Or
I ain't dealing with her.
Now you want to.
Oh, now you want it? Why? Because you're crying?
Now you want to.
Why? Because life is not doing well for you?
Like, because you tight, like, you mad, like, oh, now, okay.
Now you want to get with me? Why? Because you need me?
Right.
Well, you needed me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he's not petty like me. He's not petty like you. He's not his love is not petty like that. Which brings me to the next one. Well, actually, the scripture that comes to mind is Romans 5:10. It says, if the death of his son restored our relationship with God while we were still his enemies. So, like, who does that to their enemies? Who is open and honest and vulnerably sharing their love to their enemies? Most people don't, right? Even people in the Bible, what's his name? David was like, yo, kill them off. My enemies, kill them off. I ain't trying to deal with them. Kill them off. I was like, David, that's a lot. But, that's what, when you mad, you mad. And for him, it was severe. So that's another topic. But it says, still his enemies. We were even more certain that because of his restored relationship, the life of his son will save us. Which brings me to the next thing. His love is mad reckless. So there's a song.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And when I just want to bring it to this. When I was single, there was a point that I was like, I ain't trying to deal with these guys. I said something else. I ain't trying to deal with these dudes, because I just got my heart.
I wasn't messing with none of these niggas. Like,
I'm done. I'm done. Right? And the reason why is because my heart was broken several times over and over again. Some of it is my fault. I should have chose better. But there was a point that I was like, God, I don't want to do it no more. And he was like, and God speaks to us. And there was a point that he said to me, Janelle, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's in my journal. But this is years ago. He said something about your perseverance will be your destruction or something like that. Your self-perseverance. Like, so I was trying to preserve myself because I was so scared. But that fear was locking me out of what could have been. And thankfully, God convinced me and opened my heart up, because I'm everything is not perfect, but I have a great relationship with my husband and people. And, you know, some people do that with friends. Oh, I don't want to open up my heart to my new friends because she hurt me. She talked about me, and it's legitimate, but
don't want to open your heart up in general.
Right, in general. But this is the thing about God. His heart is reckless. He's not reckless. His love is reckless because he's not like, he ain't all over the place. God is like very intentional, but his love is reckless. And the reason why I say that is because he's not concerned about his well-being. So I'll read what I wrote. He's reckless because he did wait, hold on.
You see, it ain't just
I can see it. It's just like, what did I write? So he's not concerned with the consequences of his actions with regard to his own safety of his heart, right? The comfort of his heart and the well-being of himself. His love is not crafty or slick. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna do this so I can do that. I'm gonna get like we have all met a crafty, slick person that loved us, but was really trying to get in our pants, or loved us that was really trying to get something from us.
Yeah.
God is not like that. It's, right. He's not cunning or shrewd. He's quite childlike in his love. It's kind of ridiculous, right? It's not selfish or self-serving. He isn't concerned about what he would gain or lose, but putting himself on the line for our love, for the chance to love us. For the chance that we would love him. Mm-hmm. So he would always love us, but he's putting himself on the line for the chance for people to love him, for us to love him. That's pretty wild. No, you don't think?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. It's extremely intentional.
Yes, and vulnerable. Extremely vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable as well. I think the part that gets me within that is like his love is also just, it's not cautious, right? So you know how we walk around and we're like, let me make
like very calculated, like
very calculated. You know what?
You ain't gonna hurt me.
I'm gonna do that one. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go all the way around, and it's like, no, I am looking specifically for you, that you are the one that I'm concerned about, right? And what that means ultimately is, and I love it, even that song. And if you guys don't know that song, just Google Reckless Love. Reckless Love is the exact title. And I'm gonna just, I don't even know how to get to the chat, but regardless of which, it's Reckless Love. Okay. But it's like he would legitimately, if you think about it, in the scriptures, it says that he left the 99 for that one, right? The one is you, right?
But it's always you.
Right. But this is the part that is like, it's so particular to you that it's like, I'll leave everyone else and come looking for you. Specifically you. Because I love you, because I know you, because I created you. I have such an undying and unfiltered love for you that I'll do whatever. I don't have to be cautious in my approach. I can be very focused on my approach because I'm looking for you. I'm here to work, like I'm here with you, right? To work this life out with you. Like, you are the one that I want. And that is like, oh wait, so you left all the other ones for me. And it's like, yeah, I did. Right? That right there, that joint blow me every time, every single time. Because I'm like, wow, I'm the one. Whoa. Wow.
Right.
You know?
It's overwhelming. His love is overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming in a good way. It's like, there's a song that talks about his love is like a mighty, I forgot. It's like a big wave, crashing over us, It's overwhelming. And when you even think about the world and how it's created, like nature can be overwhelming. Like the sea can be overwhelming.
Tsunamis.
Like exactly.
Water can ravage a whole like area.
Swallow us up.
Yeah.
But what if that was a good thing? What if it was like a symbolic of love? Then that's a different story, you know, like, so it's overwhelming in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
God's love is extremely vulnerable. And what was the other thing? God's love is faithful. Like, he's committed. He ain't going to cheat on you. I mean, this is the type of stuff I think about
It's
because
the
I've been cheated on.
99. Like, he left the 99 for you.
Right. So he ain't going
That
to cheat
part.
on you. He ain't gonna cheat on you, you know, and he could love everybody individually the way they need to be loved because he created you. So he knows how to love you very well. You know, I always think about my husband. He always says, I'm in Janelle University. I study Janelle. I learned Janelle, and I'm going to make sure that I love Janelle in the way she needs to be loved. And that's great. And that's like beautiful to me. But I think the reason why he thinks like that is because he knows how it is to be loved by God. Point blank. He knows how it is to be loved by God. I think as human beings, we can only love to a certain point without a relationship with God. I do think that if we're intentional with our relationship with God and receiving our love from him, then we can love better, but we still cannot love to the extent that God loves, which is fine. Yeah. But if we can love as best as humanly possible, that's great because we're taking the lead from God. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, you know? And when I think about like when I started dating my husband, I was scared. I was legitimately scared. Tracy knows. I told him no. And I liked him for 2 years. I told him no. Why? Because I was scared. But this is the thing that he did. He led in vulnerability. He was vulnerable first because I was too scared to be vulnerable. So when he was vulnerable, I felt comfortable and safe to be vulnerable. He led in love, and then eventually I was okay and felt safe to express my love. And I truly believe he is just copying God, like, which is a great thing. Not to say that he has to make these things up. Like, that's what God does. Like, God leads in love. He leads in vulnerability. You know, first God loved us, then we love him. First God was vulnerable with us, then we're vulnerable with him because he's the one that puts it down. Like, he's the one that is reckless with his love. Like we said earlier, he's the one that is open to possibly get hurt, possibly be rejected. Because I've rejected him. I'm sure we've all rejected him at one point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've rejected him several times. Years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even now, sometimes I'm like, I don't say it, but I sometimes don't want to pray. Like if I said, Trey, I want to talk. And you're like, I don't feel like it. Like, dang, you know? Mm-hmm. But that be me in prayer. Mm-hmm. He calls me to pray sometimes, and I don't want to pray sometimes.
Yeah.
That's reject, but he still continues to be like, Janelle, I want to pray. I mean, I want to talk to you, which is prayer.
Yeah. And so that's the part that is important when we're talking about God's love for us. It's not conditional, right? So It's not like, oh, you have to do blank in order to earn this love, right? So for example, and I know this may ruffle feathers, but
Heidi LaBelle.
No, I'm really not. But ultimately, like, you know how sometimes when you're with somebody and they're like, all right, well, in order for you to really engage in relationship with them, you have to be sexually intimate with them, or you have to share your finances with them, or you have to share, you know, like your depth with that person. And it's like,
be vulnerable. Yeah.
I am not, you don't have to, you like in that type of a relationship, what ends up happening is you are performing, right? So you're performing in order to earn this love, right? So the performance may very well be, I have to pay for blank, I have to give you money for blank, or I have to sexually engage with you and I'm not ready to do so, or I don't want to do so, or I don't feel comfortable doing so. Well, I have to do that in order to get in a relationship with you. I have to pay for these things in order to get into a relationship with you. I have to put myself out on the line in order to prove that I am worthy of being in relationship with you. And that is very humanistic in approach, right? With God, we don't have to do that. That's not a performance that we have to make. Literally, you don't gotta do nothing. Like, you don't, like, literally, it looks like, wow, I genuinely am looking to be in a relationship with you, Jesus. I don't know what this relationship looks like. I don't necessarily know what this relationship means, but there's something about you that is either of interest to me or something, or I'm just thinking about you a lot. That's it, really. You know, I want to be I want to give my life to you, Jesus. And there is no particular, you have to say it this way. You have to sound this way. You have to look and make the words come and connect in this particular way. It's not that. You literally only have to open up your heart to him, like,
and that's for salvation, right? But he loves you even if you don't say yes to him, and
even if you don't actually, that I'm talking specifically about having a connected relationship with him.
Right.
Apart from that, regardless of who you are, where you come from, how you look, how you move, who you like, who you into, what you're doing, how you doing it, whatever, he's still banging with you. That's it.
Is that crazy?
When it comes to, I want to live a life for you, all it really looks like is an opening of your heart. And that does not, no one can tell you, oh, it must sound this way. It must look this way. And that's not it, because we don't have to perform for him, because he wants us so bad. Like, I will find you. I will come search for you. I will move the things. And y'all already know, if you even think about yourself like, oh, well, before I even thought about a Jesus, I was doing all the things. I was being in all the places. And it's like, okay, well,
that's fine.
I just move the things because I want you. I want you. And that's legitimately what it is with him. It's like, you don't have to perform. You don't have to, like, and even if you've already said that you trust in Jesus and you love him and you living for him, and you know, do blank, whatever the blank may be that you think is like horrible, that still doesn't disqualify you from being in a relationship with him. And that's a hard fact. Because you did blank does not now mean, oh, you know what? I don't want you. That smells like, I don't want anything to do with you. That smells. It doesn't look right. I don't like the way it looks. It's not packaged correctly. That's not it. That's not it. That's petty. That's petty LaBelle. Like, that's us. We'd be like, oh, it don't look the way.
Like, nah, because I remember when you was trying to get with me.
Right, I don't want to deal with none of that. None of that. None of that. None
now,
of that. I don't want to deal with none of that.
Oh no, work. I'm good.
Right. It smell. It don't look right. It's not packaged correctly. That's us. But for him, he's like, it don't even matter. I still care. I'm still posted up like, it's us. It's us. We together. It's us. And it's like, wow, you still want me after I
did X, Y, Z. Yeah.
After I did, you still want, whoa. Yeah.
Come as you are, sis.
Yeah.
Come as you are, bro.
Yeah. That part. That part.
Exactly as you are. You know, I've heard people say, oh, I can't go to church, or I can't accept Christ because I have to clean they didn't say literally I have to clean myself up, but it's like, oh, but I'm still doing this.
I gotta stop doing.
Yeah, I gotta stop doing this. Yeah. You know, there's nothing that you can do that's going to be able to clean you up. You can't stop it by yourself.
Yeah.
So you might as well just give in. You know, and it's not, when I say give in, that sounds daunting, but it's not that. It's a giving in, it's a surrendering, it's a renderance, but it's all right, let's try you. Let's try Jesus.
Facts. Yo, I knew someone's mom who had that on the back, like the bumper sticker of her car.
She's like, I'm gonna teach this word when I'm driving, okay?
It was written in Curl and it said, try Jesus. And I was like, Nah.
Try Jesus, but not me.
No, literally, I was like, wow, she got a bumper sticker that says try Jesus. Like,
Yes.
okay.
I like the try Jesus, not
Hilarious.
me.
Hilarious. But
Listen,
yeah.
I love Jesus and I want to be like him, but I am not him. So keep that in mind.
So this is the question that I have for all of us, and that's including y'all in the chat. Janelle, can you see the chat? Is there an active?
I can see the chat.
Okay, you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. What are ways that what do you think are some ways that we express God's love for us? Like, what does that actually even look like practically? And this is not for it to be legalistic, like you got to do this because if you don't do this, then it means that you're not in. Nah, y'all. Okay. Pause it. Pause on it. But nonetheless, like, what do you think are some ways that we express God's love for us?
What are the ways that we can express God's love for us? Are you really want them to answer that now?
I was trying to see if because I can't see the chat, so I don't know if
I don't see any. I mean, they're there, but nobody's answering.
Okay, typing. Okay, oh, yeah, cool.
So, in your own time, think about that.
Yeah, in your own time, think about that. That's one question that we also want to leave you with. Another one:
showing compassion to others. That's what somebody said. Chanel said that, and Janelle said considering him first.
What does that mean? Considering him first and showing compassion. Those are good. I love the showing compassion to others.
Seeking him first. That's what somebody else said.
Seeking him first.
That's what Sherry said. Sherry said,
all right, y'all. Come on and get active in the chat. But
what are the ways? So what for you, what are the ways that you can express God's love for us?
One way that I think, and there is no, I don't necessarily believe that there is a particular answer. It's just a question for us to consider. But one of the ways that I believe we can express God's love for us looks like, especially in this particular space of my life, who we interact with as far as men, for me. So expressing, if she had glasses, she would have been looking over her glasses. But yeah, I think one of the ways, slip slowly, my girl. Cheers. Cheers, toast. But yeah, so one of the ways I would say that we express God's love for us is specifically around dating and interacting with men. I think I remember watching a sermon, and he was talking about dating well. And this was, I think it was what's his name? Dang, Jerry Flowers. Yeah. This was maybe like
that's your boy.
I love him. Okay. Him and his wife, I love them. But on Redefined TV, I love them and I watch all their videos. But anyway, he was talking about dating well and us knowing ourselves, that level of self-awareness in the sense of radically knowing who we are, who the Lord has called us to be, would now transition into how you date. It would automatically transition into how you date because you're now going to see that, oh, I can't just bang with anybody. Like, I just can't.
That part.
I just can't be anything with the people. Like, I can't be mixed with the people because I am set apart. And set apart doesn't mean, oh, I'm holier than thou and I'm hootie and tootie or howdy and towdy. I don't remember how they say it, but like, it ain't that. It's specifically around the love that is coming from my heart to another person has to be safeguarded, right? Safeguarded in the sense of that does not mean guarded, like I don't let anybody in. It just means it is available to the person that I know the Lord has created for me to interact with, where it makes sense. Okay. And so that would look like, and that doesn't mean even in front, like in friendship, of course, like engaging in people with people. I think, who was it? Chanel who said that, or Janelle, that I think you said that said, showing compassion to other people, to others,
And
like
said that, yeah.
that's part of that as well. You
And
know,
showing
showing
compassion to
God's
yourself.
love. Yeah, showing compassion. But that comes from also showing compassion to yourself, to
Yeah.
know that my peace is a big deal. Okay. That's not something I can buy. I can't purchase that. So what that looks like is I cannot engage with all the people then, because I do it. I can't navigate and I can't manage that. But what I do know is that there's some moments where I have to just sit and observe. I may be wanting a relationship, yes, but I have to sit and observe as I watch and pay attention to other people and to see how they move. And then from there, that wise knowledge of the person, now that can build interest, because if it's also when it's in the scripture saying like don't awaken love before it's time. And
it
it's
says,
like,
and it's talking about daughters, which is really,
yeah, and
not to
what
say
that
men can't
looks
do
like,
that, but
because if you think about it, ladies, like it don't take much. It don't take much for us to be interested. Okay?
they're like, oh, do you see his muscles popping
Like,
out his sweater?
you
But
just
do you
wait
see
and
that
say
beard
words.
though? With that beard be like,
It connect.
it connect.
What? Okay. Okay.
Oh, he got some light eyes.
Okay. He
Or
cute.
whatever it is.
He cute. He smile cute. He's
Or for
swaggy.
people like me, it's the beard and the intelligence. Ooh, look what he said. Ooh.
Look, listen.
You know,
It's the vibe.
it's the mind.
Like
right.
if your vibe is like, no, but this is what I'm saying. So when it comes to expressing God's love for us, like what that actually looks like, when for me, one of the ways that I process that is also the way in which that I interact with men, the way in which that I date, the people I'm even interested in, the people I'm over here, like the people I consider as I watch, because I'm
For some
very
reason your screen is frozen, but we can still hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm very
Go
observant.
ahead, yeah.
I'm an observer person. And so when it comes to that, how I express, one of the ways that I would say is really just how we date. And this is coming from as a woman who is in the dating space. So yeah, that's something I would definitely mention.
Honey child, I think you're expressing God's love for yourself seeps into every aspect of your life. And like you said, a big one is dating. It could be how you, like you said, how you treat yourself, you know, because how you treat yourself is
Yeah.
the standard of how people treat you, right? And the standard of how you treat yourself should be met by the standard that God has given you.
And
But
also how you believe you should be treated.
right, which should be the standard that God has set for us, you know?
Right.
So one of the things I always ask God is, God, help me to see myself the way you see me. Because if I saw myself the way you see me, I would be a lot more confident. I would go after things that I don't care what the world says I need to have, what type of credentials I need to have. If God said I can do it, then I can do it. You know, if we could see ourselves the way God sees us, if we could love ourselves just a fraction of the way God loves us, I think our whole life would change. And like you said, dating would be a big deal. Picking your spouse is a big deal.
That's the person that you listen. Okay, I was watching. It's kind of random, but not really. I saw Kevin Hart's comedy special on Netflix, and he was like,
with the Netflix password.
Listen,
log in.
Okay, so listen, right? Because I don't own none of the things. Okay, I just be
one of those people.
The password.
She one of those people. It'd be like it says for Netflix. It says like 20 million people viewed, but there's not 20 million memberships. So like, where the other
Right.
viewers come
I'm
from?
one of them people. But listen, so I was watching Kevin Hart's comedy special, and he was talking about he got into an accident, and then
Yeah,
he was like, there was this man he had to use the restroom, he had to poop, and the man had to wipe him, and he was like, yo, that I just started crying out, and my mom and I were watching it, and we were hella confused. Okay,
really?
hella confused, y'all, because I'm like, my mom and I had a whole conversation about that afterwards. Like, I'm confused. He's not married?
Oh, why his wife didn't do it?
Like,
oh, because he was in the hospital, and I don't know why she wasn't there.
it does.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
just didn't understand. I was like, because I just could not wrap my brain around that, because I'm like, who you are with, like, he was like, you need to have somebody who can wipe you. He was like, make sure you have somebody that can wipe you. And I was like, it should be who you married or not. Like, I don't know, because I also come from a place where I've seen that with my own parents, right? So like, my mom didn't allow any other person around my father. Like, the woman would come and like, like the nurse, and she would be like, I don't really even know why I'm here, because
well, Trey, they don't. You gotta say.
I'm going to say that. So my father passed away from cancer, and so in the time of him passing away, my mom was there the whole time. So when I was watching the Kevin Hart special, and he was like, yeah, so this man was, and I was like mad confused, because I'm like, that don't make no type of sense to me, because I've seen what it looks like when you are in relationship. You have to be mindful of who you pick. And my father used to say this all the time. He was like, you know what, Trey? He always used to tell us this. I'm a smart guy. I'm a smart man. But let me tell you, the one, he's like, not one of the, he said, the smartest decision I ever made in my life, hands down, eyes closed, was marry your mother.
It's so sweet.
Smartest decision. He was like, that's the smartest decision I ever made, because I am good because of her. We're good because of her. Like, he's like, it's because of her.
Proverbs 31 woman right there.
Like, if she wasn't who she is, then we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't live the way we do. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is why it's so important, because that's your life. That's your life. And that's just one way of saying, and if we're consistently looking at other people as the standard, then we're not doing a due diligence to who God is and how God has created us to be. Like, my parents were a great example to me. At the same time, they cannot be my standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that. Like, absolutely. But they cannot be my standard. My standard is who God has created me to be and who God has created this person to be. And it's like, if we are on the same like wavelength, like we're on the same frequency, then it's like, okay, cool, we could vibe out together. But that is super duper important, and that's just one of the areas that I would highlight.
Yeah. So Janelle said, I think that every day we are faced with so many decisions. We may not know how to respond, but considering God is like making sure he is at the table. And considering God, and I would say, like, I guess God's love for us is making sure he's at the table. I would agree, Janelle. And Chanel said, God's standard. And I like that, which they're sisters. They're
yes, I see it now. I see it now. It says that.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Good.
So Janelle said about he was also having marriage issues at the time. So maybe that's the reason why his wife was not there. Totally get it. Totally copy. I'm just talking about, I'm not saying general, that she was wrong or he was wrong. I'm just like, that confused me, because I don't have context for that. So that's why when I heard it, I was like, Oh,
I didn't even
wow.
think about that, to be honest.
Like that was just so interesting to me to hear that part in particular. But yeah, so I just wanted to leave y'all off with one other question, and then Janelle, you can go ahead. I'll ask you this question particularly. So how does God's love for us transfer into how we see ourselves? I know you mentioned it a little bit a little earlier, but if you can unpack that a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. So like I said, I always ask God to help me to see myself the way he sees me. And so, for example, even doing something like this, though we don't have like all these millions of followers and, all these things, is still something that's very intentional and very important. And having this platform was something that I was extremely scared of. But when I started to understand God's love for me, it meant that he is not going to so the reason why we're doing this is because we know that God wants us to do this, right? So right. And we're having fun along the way, but
Yeah, of course.
the initial push and the sustaining of this desire is God.
Yeah.
And for God to people to know God, right? So when I think about his love for me and his love for Tracy, I understand, okay, he's not going to push us into something that's going to not be beneficial for us or for anyone else. So if his love for us is what he says it is, then we're going to be fine. And that means this is going to be a great experience. It may be difficult. It may not always be easy. It's usually never easy. But it is for us. And so how does God's love for us transfer into how we see ourselves? It was like the way once I'm understanding, or not once, but like I'm still understanding. It's not something I've arrived to. I don't think I'll ever arrive to understanding the full scope of God's love for me. But the more I understand it and the more I study it and the more I meditate on, and pray and talk to him about that, the more I know that I can do this. I can do this because he said I can do it. And he's backing me up. He's backing Trey up. And he's not going to lead us astray, and if it feels uncomfortable and if it feels like it's astray, it's still not astray. So this is just one example. Like anything that I do, I'm more confident in what God tells me to do because his love for me is real. I'm very aware of his love for me. And I think that this is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about when it comes to God, because this is the basis, I would say, after you accept him as your savior, you have salvation. Like it is extremely important for us to understand as much as we can God's love for us, because that permeates in everything that we do. There's people walking around now that don't love themselves. If they knew, if they understood just a little bit of God's love for them, I think that they would love themselves better. They would see value in themselves. They, like she said, they would date differently. They would choose different spouses. They would choose different jobs. They would go after the thing. It won't be like perfection, but we would show up in life differently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
not only that,
absolutely.
we would be bolder in things that God has called us to do. And so I'm still in the place of learning God's love for me and really like meditating on that and receiving it. Cause there's a gift that you can have, but you have to receive it and open it up. Right. So
There's
like
that's a continual space. You just said that you're still in that space. And I'm like, that's a continual space. Like
absolutely. I'm not, I have
yeah.
not arrived and I won't
Yeah.
arrive.
Yeah.
So I just want to end with this. Like today was a very hard day for me and hopefully I won't cry.
And it's totally okay if you do.
So one of my I found out today that my mentor passed away. One of my mentors passed away. And I was told that he was sick, he had cancer. And I was told that when they took the tubes out and they pulled the plug, he had the biggest smile on his face. He was a believer. He had a deep relationship with Jesus. And I think that, like, I know that the smile comes from his welcome home from Jesus, from God. That's love. That's love. You're not going to smile big about dying if
Mhm.
it wasn't met with love, you
Mhm.
know? And so this is why salvation is so important. Yes, you want to have, uh, you want to know where you're going after this world, after this life. But you also want to have a healthy life on this earth. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, because trials and tribulations are going to happen regardless if you have a relationship with Jesus or not.
Mhm.
But
Absolutely.
to go through it with him is way better than to go through it without him.
Mhm.
And mind you, to when you're going through it without him, he's still trying to insert himself. He's still trying to get his way to you to help you to go through life with you. And so with him comes joy. With him comes peace. With him comes suffering through life. There's certain things that is cause suffering. Like, he legitimately had cancer and he died with the cancer. That means his body deteriorated, but he still had joy. Why? Because he has a relationship with Jesus. And not only that, like, he knows God's love for him. You know, everyone wants to be accepted and loved. Every human being on this earth who's ever lived, who's ever died, who's living now, wants to be accepted no matter what and loved. And that's the only place you can get that is in Jesus. My husband loves me a lot, but there's not, I could do a lot of crap and he could be like, nah, I'm not dealing with you no more. But Jesus would be like, all right, we got to change. You got to change your habits. You got to change your ways, but I still love you, you know? So,
So I just wanted to
anyhow,
read this scripture, which is Romans 12:12. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Um, just to get onto what you just said, like, that was a beautiful share, and thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for vulnerably and boldly sharing that with us.
thank you. And the beautiful thing about it is that he's the one that introduced me to media and like using media as ministry. He's the one that introduced me to using these types of things. And I wasn't even YouTube. I don't even think he wasn't even into stuff like that, but like teaching youth, like teens and young adults, how to, conduct a radio show, because I had a radio show for years. And with that relationship, God showed me, like, this is what I want you to do, Janelle. And so that brings me to here. And I believe that's all God's love for me. This man hit me up on, and it sounds a little creepy, but it's not. He hit me up on Facebook and was like, I think you should do this radio show with me. And I'm like, what? I don't know you. He was familiar. I'm going over a tangent right now. He's familiar because I knew him from, I used to go to Brooklyn Tabernacle. So it wasn't that unfamiliar. It wasn't that strange, but it was still like a reach. It was still like God using him to reach out to me. So anyway, I just believe that that was God's love to put me on a path that God wanted me to be on.
Mhm.
Hence, I am here. So thank you all. Some people said, sorry for your loss. I mean, listen, he's not, we know where he is, thankfully. And so I appreciate that. All right, y'all, we gotta go. Anything else you would like to say, Trey?
I
Because
just
we're about to be out. Hugs, virtual hugs. We
virtual.
had a whole session. I want to say, yo, if you want a relationship with Jesus, please, like, you could do this on your own. You could sit at home and open up your heart. You can pray and say, God, I want a relationship with you. Jesus, I want a relationship with you. Help me to have a relationship with you. Or you can hit us up. We would love to talk to you about that. DM us.
At
You
Life
can
with
put
Trey
it
and J, LIFEWITHTRAYANDJEA, y'all.
JEA. A lot of people say JAE is JEA. And or you can put it down in the chat. Like, there's so many ways to contact us. And it's lifewithtreyandj@gmail.com as well. And yo, we would love for you to be at our Valentine's Day event. This is what
Yes.
it's about. It's
Pull
really about
up.
God's
Listen, pull up. Go ahead.
it's really about God's love for us. And once we really accept that love for us, that love he has for us, it really is a gift of being yourself, because he created you specifically for a reason, and how he formed you is for a reason. So for you not to accept your gift of being yourself is like a disservice to him. So we want to talk about the gift. This is the topic for the event, the gift of being yourself, a radical journey of self-awareness. He created you for a reason, and like in that fashion for a reason. So let's like accept the gift of being yourself. Join us. We're gonna have lots of fun.
Yes. Yeah. We still have a few $25 tickets left. Afterwards, it's $35. As we said earlier, we are going to be giving away a ticket on our page. So definitely please tune in, stay tuned, in order for you to get access to how we gonna do that. And then pull up to Galentine's. We have an announcement that we're going to be making this weekend about Galentine's. It's gonna be a vibe.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a vibe. Y'all. It's gonna be a vibe.
And ladies, thank you all for staying with us. We appreciate you all.
Yes, shout out to the commentary.
And share, and please like, share, subscribe, and send this to those who just send it to everybody.
Yes. Send it to your friends. Send it to the people.
All right, y'all. We love y'all.
Bye, y'all.
It was great.